was an amazing experience being her daughter. We laughed a lot in the house. That was Mummy's way. Everything was done in a jokey manner, but she was very strict, a disciplinarian who insisted that we did things the right way. She was the heartbeat of this house. You know, the engine, that was Mummy, so definitely you'll feel it.
Theresa Abba Kufuor, the esteemed former First Lady of Ghana, left an indelible mark on the nation, challenging conventional perceptions of the role. Despite her private nature, she transformed the landscape of First Ladies in Ghana, embodying a quiet strength that departed from the boisterousness of her predecessor, Nana Akufo-Addo Agyeman-Rawlings.
She conducted herself with utmost grace and respect in a peaceful manner. You know, her husband succeeded a revolutionary in the person of late Flight Lieutenant Rawlings and Mrs. Rawlings and 31st December Women Movement, etc. They were revolutionaries by and large, and that's what they attempted to turn the country into. But her sober, calm, and graceful and respectful demeanor endeared her, because it was a break from the successor, and I think it was a wonderful one to her part and to our part as a party and the country as a whole, to go from revolutionary antics to a peaceful conduct on her part, well respected.
Despite the stark difference, many acknowledge that she executed her role with elegance, grace, and humanity. Theresa Kufuor championed initiatives like the Mother and Child Community Development Foundation, addressing critical issues such as preventing mother-to-child transmission of HIV. The foundation operated in both Ghana and Canada. She was also dedicated to empowering women, healthcare, and education, playing a significant role in advocating for the implementation of UNESCO's free compulsory universal basic education program for kindergarten children.
There was no choice in the matter, and there was no cause also for any friction at all for the 5 years of the beginning of the clinic till the time I left. It was a good working relationship. To put it in plain language, she knew her job, and I knew what I expected from that side of the clinic, and I got it. So it was a good relationship. And of course, she herself, as I said, she was a lady, didn't demand too much, and she was able to keep the other people who work with her, that's the other staff, the other nursing staff, calm. They delivered. There was no friction between her or anybody. So it was a pleasant relationship, and I was happy with it.
Involved in numerous charitable organizations and philanthropic endeavors, Theresa Kufuor earned a plethora of recognitions and honors, including one from the Catholic Church in 2007 for her dedication and contributions to the welfare of humanity. In 2007, she was again awarded the Papal Award, Dame of St. Gregory the Great, for her commitment to the plight of poor children and their mothers. However, her charitable deeds transcended public showmanship to many people whose lives were touched by her. Theresa Kufuor's respect for humanity was unparalleled.
Mama Theresa treats me as one of her sons. When I gave birth, my first baby boy, she bought a gold necklace as a presentation for my boy. When I gave birth to my second baby boy too, she did the same thing. And it's not for me alone. All her workers whenever your wife gives birth, she will personally go to the goldsmith, will go with her, and she will make the order and make a specific quality that she wants. And she'll make sure that she will go and deliver it to the baby as a present.
My very first meeting with the late First Lady was in 1973 when she was recruited to be the first matron of the Cocoa Clinic during the early stage of the establishment of that clinic. It was a pleasant meeting, calm, beautiful lady. One could tell that one was dealing with somebody who knew her job, so there was no difficulty in her being chosen as a person to head the nursing department of Cocoa Clinic.
Before meeting the former president, John Agyekum Kufuor, the late former First Lady worked as a staff nurse at the Kufuor Teaching Hospital, later training as a registered general nurse between 1958 and 1961 at the Edinburgh Southern Hospital School of Nursing. She completed her midwifery Part 1 training in Oxford and continued to do the Part 2 at the Paddington General Hospital in London. Theresa's prime years were dedicated to her profession as a nurse and midwife, inspiring many with her commitment to implementing policies aimed at improving the working conditions of nurses and midwives.
Within 2002, 2003, 4, and 5, there was high attrition rate, migration of nurses and midwives from the country. And this was worrying. So behind the scene, we contacted her to help us lobby so that at least the condition of service of nurses and midwives can be improved to curtail the migration rate. Indeed, she did that beautifully. And so we had a health services salary structure 1 and 2, which helped us tremendously to curb the attrition rate of nurses and midwives in the country. President Kufuor then set into motion the single spine, which the late President Mills implemented in 2010. Since then, nurses remain in the country until recently, when we are experiencing this attrition rate again.
Despite her sterling academic pursuit in nursing and midwifery, Theresa Abba-Mensah, as she was then called, made time for social events. At a Republic Day anniversary dance in London in 1961, she met her soon-to-be husband, John Agyekum Kufuor, a young man ready to settle down and begin pursuing his well-thought-out career. Separated by death after 62 years of being together, former President John Agyekum Kufuor has been forced by the icy hands of death to live alone.
They were together for 62 years. I'm sure some of you have heard of how they met. You know, it was like destiny. There was an Independence Day dance, you know, Republic Day, that's the 1st of July. So my mum had left Edinburgh and was on her way to Oxford. And Daddy had also been called to the bar at Lincoln's Inn and was on his way to Oxford to do his PPE. And his friend told him that, you know, you want to go, because he knew then that he wanted to go into politics, because he was mentored by the former president or Prime Minister Buzia. So actually told him that, you know, I think you need to find yourself a nice Ghanaian lady because of this ambition you're nurturing. And he actually told him that there was this lady going to the dance and he should check her out, you know, try and make contact. So apparently on the dance floor, Daddy asked for a swap of partners, and that's how they met and clicked. So you can imagine, and it's been 62 years together, so he feels it. But he's bearing up.
Beyond being a beloved partner for more than 6 decades, Mrs. Kufuor was also the backbone of her husband's presidency. Theresa Kufuor was a big influence on many of the women and children-centered policies introduced during her husband's tenure, including the free maternal health policy focused on reducing financial barriers to accessing delivery services for pregnant women and reducing maternal mortality. She was also the brain behind the school feeding program, which aimed to reduce short-term hunger and malnutrition among kindergarten and primary school children.
As a nurse, which was her initial training, she was able to bring on board transformation of Ghanaian attitude towards women. No wonder that during that era, the husband, who was the president, introduced free maternal care for women and children and school feeding and all that. I can say that she was whispering many things to the husband's ear.
She was a good tool for him to have because Mummy had stayed in different parts and she had a soft ear for languages. So sometimes she'll be on the podium, if it was Ewe, if it was Ga, Hausa, because Daddy doesn't speak any of that. So she was good in that way. You know, she didn't like the limelight. So for her, it wasn't about, you know, being First Lady, but I think she realized that it was her opportunity to impact, to have some influence and try and shape the narrative in Ghana. So she made sure in terms of the health, because her special focus was on the mothers and the children. So she had input into some of the pro-poor policies. When you think that this government was to the right of center, they're usually the capitalist free markets. But she made sure that, you know, they kept an eye on mothers, they had free maternal health care, they had the school feeding, you know, a nutritious meal a day for a child.
Theresa Kufuor was a devout Christian who fellowshipped with the Roman Catholic Church. She was one of the veteran choristers of Christ the King Catholic Church in Accra, where the family worshipped for most of their lives.
Our lives were built around the church. Faith was very important. So Christ the King played a big part in our lives. So since they've been in Accra from 1969, right up to the end, Christ the King was the place. We went to school there, did all the activities, First Communion, confirmation, everything was done there.
As the quiet woman Theresa Kufuor was, it was not surprising that she meticulously prepared her family for her eventual passing.
I was called by His Excellency that I should come. Immediately she calls me. I say, wow, my suspicion is coming true. So I went inside, I knocked and I entered, and I saw that all her children are in the room. And this usually doesn't happen that way. And immediately His Excellency opened his mouth and said, Mr. Labi, your mother. I couldn't control myself. But I can't imagine Mama Theresa leaving me. It wasn't easy at all. It wasn't easy.
Faith plays a big part in our lives. So I was okay with it. I felt calm about it. A few weeks before her passing, Mummy had been unwell. She caught a cold, quite a nasty one. So she had been taken to the hospital, and there we were told that she was very frail because she had to go into hospital because she couldn't cough. So once her consultant had told us that, I sort of prepared myself because she always told me that the time would come when she would have to go. And she also said that, you know, God, whatever God gives us, we should be grateful and know that we can go through it.
Clearly, Theresa was not just a wife to a president. She was a woman of her own accord, a force to reckon with, and a champion of women and children's needs. Many believe that her legacy will continue to live on.
My message to Ghanaians is that we should love each other. That was the legacy that Mum left. You know, that's what she taught us. You know, we are Christians, we are practicing Catholics, but it doesn't matter. We are people. We are all Ghanaians. We need to love and support each other. If you are in a position to help, you need to look back and pull those who need help along so that this country can be at a level where we are all happy and successful.
When President Kufuor introduced the Ministry for Women and Children's Affairs, they collaborated with the First Lady in many aspects of women and children's growth and welfare. And we thank Mrs. Kufuor for that effort. May the good Lord receive her beautiful soul eternally.
Mama Theresa, I'm going to miss you a lot. May the Almighty God keep you safe till we meet again. I love you, Mama. Mama, the referee.
She has been a role model for some of us, watching her from a distance. Her demeanor, her beauty, her smile, and her English accent was something we will never forget about. She was indeed a noble lady. And as we bid her farewell, we pray she will sleep peacefully in the bosom of the Lord till the resurrection day.
This is a sad loss to the country. Of course, she was ill. And as a doctor, sometimes you begin to think about our mortality. And also the fact that at a certain stage in our lives, we are exposed to illness, to pain, into a situation where we will wish we didn't have to deal with. So all I will say, I wish she rests peacefully, painlessly in the arms of the Lord. She has contributed a bit as a professional in the sense of a profession as a nurse, and also to the country, as a mother to the country. And she set the example of modesty, as far as I can see, of a First Lady, which we all admired. It gave you the impression that this is a mother of a nation.